The Cavaliers leaking oil as they get into the playoffs. Donovan Mitchell clearly not quite right. He's trying to get there. I'm concerned about the way Darius Garland has played. I'm going to be honest with you.
We sat here a year ago.
Yep.
At
I remember
the Great Lakes Collectors Convention, and they were going to play the New York Knicks in the first round of the playoffs, and I said, Cavs in 7, 4-3, right? And they lose 4-1, but I remember telling you specifically about Darius Garland and the physicality.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he breaks down. And I know, no fault of his own, broken jaw, anybody, I mean, that's horrible. But it's always something with him. And then Donovan's got the knee and the broken nose. And so this team, like you said, leaking oil, they're still not a physical team. They're a finesse team. When the playoffs roll around, it's a physical type of basketball. If they match up with Orlando and Indiana in the playoffs, I think they have a chance of winning a series. If they play Philadelphia, Miami, and even the banged-up Knicks with Julius Randle down for the season, I think they would have problems. So it's going to come down to where do they end up in the final seeding? Do they get home court advantage, which didn't help them last year, but you always want that. And then who is the matchup against as to whether or not they can advance to the second round, which, and let's be honest, David, play-in game 2 years ago.
Yep.
Playoffs last year. This year, you're expecting at least to win one series if you're progressing properly. If they don't, then it's time you look at J.B. Bickerstaff, Darius Garland. Do you trade him in the offseason? Donovan Mitchell, does he sign here in the offseason? Or if they bow out in the first round of the playoffs again, is he not going to sign here? So, yeah, unfortunately, as good as things were going when they won 18 of 19, the complete opposite. They're under 500 since the All-Star break.
So do you think that bad taste from last year's playoff is kind of tainting the way we're looking at this year's playoff?
No, you got to prove it. I mean, come on.
That's fair.
Prove it to me that you can win a 7-game playoff series. You didn't prove to me you could win a play-in game. Lost both of those. You didn't prove last year with home court advantage you could beat the lesser-ranked team, right? So I need to see it before I believe that JB's the right coach, that he can he got out-coached last year by Tibbs, right?
Yeah.
So he's got to elevate his game, his coaching style, as well as the players. So I'm one of those people that I need to see it as opposed to you telling me it's going to get done. Show me, don't tell me.
So here's my hope.
All right.
You got Strus. I think he's a physical guy. I think he brings some intensity. Niang the same way. And Morris. Those three guys, I think if you had them last year, I'm not saying they would have won the Knicks series. They wouldn't have gone down without swinging some elbows and pushing Knicks back, if you will.
Fair assessment, yeah.
Can they make a difference?
We're talking about an inconsistent Max Strus.
Fair
and
enough.
that's what he was in the final. Go look at the finals
that's what
last
he is.
year, right? And that's who he is.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert, that's who he is, inconsistent, right? Niang is a bench player. Now, he's not going to take any crap from anybody. And Marcus Morris is that guy that if he's on your team, you love him. If he's on the other team, you hate his freaking guts and you think he should be thrown out of every game, right? He's already got ejected once this year.
They need that.
Yes.
This team needs
that. Yeah, and so those guys can help, but I don't know if they're good enough players to put them over the hump. But in certain situations, against a lesser opponent, yes, I think they can help. Against what will be considered a better opponent, I don't know how much of a difference they'll make, but it's an improvement over last year's soft team.